How are you doing? Thank you for joining me for another math lesson with Mr. Wishford. I'm super excited to dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about dividing integers with word problems. So if you have your packet with you, please open up to lesson 2.4. And please, let's follow along and let's dive right on in. All right, as you can see here, we're talking about dividing integers with word problems. And this is in the multiplying and dividing integers unit. Our goal is to be able to divide rational numbers and to find the quotient. What I would like to do is be able to work on the actual multiplication part and the division part. And we're going to focus on word problems here. I know you guys love word problems. You love it, love it, love it. First thing is always take a moment to work on the bell work. Please take a moment to work on the bell work. As you can see, you have A, B, C, D, and also E here. Complete all 5 of those problems. Pause the video if you need to, and then I'll go right with it, right over it with you. All right, so let's do it. So as we've talked about already in the past, when we're talking about dividing integers, you need to remember a division is really a way of writing a fraction, or a fraction is really just a way of writing division. So this first one here says 0 divided by -3. I like to rewrite it to look something like this. Okay, and you need to remember when the 0 is on the denominator, that means our answer is actually equal to 0, no matter what it is. Even if the answer at the bottom was a positive integer, it would end up becoming 0. Letter B, we have -5 divided by 5. You know 5 divided by 5 is actually 1, but because it's a negative divided by a positive, opposite signs, the answer needs to be negative as well. For C, we have -24 divided by -6. Okay. And you should know that there's a multiple times table here, 6, 12, 18, 24. So that means it's got to be 4, but because they're both negative, it stays positive 4. Okay, when you divide and they're both negatives, it becomes positive. Same sign, division or multiplication is positive. And finally for D, well, not finally, but for D at the top, 15 divided by 0, the 0 is on the denominator. Right? And we talked about whenever it's on the denominator, our answer needs to be undefined. Answer needs to be undefined. All right. Awesome. Let's dive in. Let's look at E. It says the quotient of 2 negative integers is always 2 negative integers. We're dividing 2 negative integers. That means our answer needs to be positive. The quotient of 1 negative and 1 positive, our answer is going to be negative. Okay, and this is like bell work B above. The quotient of 0 and any integer is either 0 or undefined, as we see above as well. Okay, knowing when that happens is important. Okay, all right, so let's look at what we're doing today. And now we are dividing integers. It won't be too much difficult. It won't be as difficult as, you know, in previous lessons, but this here is with word problems. And I know that always makes you a little nervous. Remember, we're thinking about inverse operations. Opposite of division is multiplication. Opposite of multiplication is division. The word inverse means opposite. I'm going to go through one of these word problems with you. I'm going to read it. This particular word problem, I believe, is more of a comparison, and you might have to do comparison divisions as well. But let's read it. A penalty in Media Mania is -5 seconds. So we have a Media Mania. And what I like to do is just sort of recap. When we read word problems, we read the word problem in its entirety, and then we read it again, and we highlight or we underline the important information. So a penalty in Media Mania is -5 seconds. A penalty in Cosmic Calamity is -7 seconds. Yolanda had penalties totaling -25 seconds in a game of Media Mania and -35 seconds in Cosmic Calamity. In which game did Yolanda receive more penalties? Justify your answer. All right, so we read it one time through. Let's read it again. This time, let's highlight the important information. If you don't have a highlighter with you, feel free to underline as well. So we know one penalty, right? Because it says a penalty, and Media Mania is -5 seconds, right? If you need to indicate that that represents one penalty, right? One penalty, right? One penalty in Media Mania is -5 seconds. Okay. A penalty in Cosmic Calamity is -2 seconds. So once again, one penalty in this particular game. I'm guessing these are 2 games, right? And this one is -7 seconds. That one is -5 seconds. So if I was writing stuff, I would write maybe MM down here to represent, we're talking about media mania. And over here, I'll write CC just to indicate we're talking about cosmic calamity. Okay. Let me keep going with my underlining. So I noticed that I'm highlighting Yolanda had a total penalties of negative 25 in the Media Mania game. So negative 25 in total seconds that she lost from this game. Whereas in Cosmic Calamity, she lost negative 35 seconds. Okay. They want to know which game did they receive more penalties. So which game did they receive more penalties? So what I'm going to do first is notice that she lost 25 seconds here in Media Mania. She lost 35 seconds in Cosmic Calamity. And I do need to use division, right? I can use the fraction bar. I can use that little division symbol. But I know if that's the total amount of seconds she lost, and for each penalty it was -5 in Media Mania, whereas in Cosmic Calamity is -7. This is my math that I would start off to do. Okay, this is how I would start my math off by saying, okay, the -25 seconds in total for Media Mania divided by the -5 seconds for one penalty will give me how many penalties she had in total. Because they're both negative, the penalty is going to be positive. How many penalties is going to be a positive number? 25 divided by 5 is going to give me 5. So I know in this game that it was 5 penalties. Okay. Whereas in -35 divided by -7, once again, these negatives are going to create a positive number here. 35 divided by 7, that's also going to give me a 5 penalties. Oh, sorry. My apologies. I spelled the other one wrong. That's why I'm looking back like, hold on. It's a T. Now, that being the case, they want to know which game did they receive more penalties in, and then to justify my answer. As you can look, you'll notice that they both received 5 in each game. So my answer would be neither game. Right? Which one had more? Neither game. Uh, she received, sorry, she received 5 penalties in each game. Okay. Now, I want to go over this because this is important. Oh, sorry. I wrote my answer in 2 different ways, if you notice. The word justify means 2 things. Either show your work like I did here and show me that's 5, 5. So obviously I can see that there's not one that's higher than the other. Or justify means explain in words. So I did both of these to show you there's 2 ways of being able to answer problems that say justify. The word justify means show your work, as I did up here. Let's call this option A. Or explain it to me in words, telling me neither game. She received 5 penalties in each game, which still lets me know you've calculated and you've been able to find out that 5 penalties were in both games. Okay. So we're going to take our time. We're going to read the word problem. Not every problem is going to be a comparison one like this word problem here. Some will probably be straightforward division, where you can just notice, okay, the important information, divide it, and find the answer. But I do want you, after you write your numbers, to write a word to follow. Because in word problems, because it's word problems, that means there's a unit that needs to follow your numbers. Don't just put, you notice I didn't just put 5 here. Notice I didn't just put 5 there. I put 5 penalties. That let anyone who's reading know that there was 5 penalties in this game, 5 penalties in that game. It wasn't just 5. Okay, so just remember that when you're writing your answers to include words. If you're going to write an actual sentence to explain what you're writing, that's fine too. All right. That's it for today. Take your time as you look through the actual model, the independent practice problems, and I'll look through them quickly with you as well. Jefferson made 4 of his truck payments, right? Late. All right. He was fined 4 late fees. So you should be thinking, okay, 4 late fees. It's not double 4s here, just it was 4 payments he made. They were all 4 of them were late. Okay. The total was -40. It was a change in his savings because he had to pay this. Okay. So think about that and tell me how much one late fee was. Liz, -22 on her exam. She got 11 questions wrong. She received a -2 on her exam. How much was she penalized for each wrong answer? Okay. Okay, so she received a negative 22 points because of those 11 questions she's got wrong. So each question, how much did she get off is what they're asking you. Okay, make sure you show your work for each one of these and keep going. Read the problems very carefully, right? Show your work. And if it asks you to justify, you have the option of explaining with words or showing your actual work. Okay. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Take your time as you approach these word problems. And if there's any questions, as always, put them in the Google Classroom page underneath the assignment, or just say them for me when I see you in class. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.